All right, so I wanted to give you guys a quick recap of our last vacation on the Celebrity Edge from Seattle to Juneau, Alaska. And it was like 7 nights, 8 days. And it was pretty cool. We've been on that vessel twice. It's definitely tailored towards a older demographic. And when I say older, I'm talking about like 55 and up. Like, if you're looking to be entertained, this is not the vessel for you. There are some events sprinkled throughout the day, but it's not like Carnival Cruise where you have competing things every hour on the hour. Really, everything kicked off at 7 and 9 o'clock, and then of course they had the club at 11 to 1. Most people predominantly on this cruise were on the cruise to see the vistas, like the whales, the glaciers, things like that. But one thing that I would tell people is to pack for all weather occasions. Like, there were days where you could wear shorts, there were days where it was raining, there were days where it was cold, as you expected. It's Alaska, so it makes packing a little difficult. On that though, the crew knows that you're going into a cold climate, so they have like fleece blankets where the towels are for like the hot tubs and the swimming pools spread out throughout the ship. So that was pretty cool, and you could get as many as you want. And it didn't look like they were being like accounted for, because whenever we would bring one to the room, it wasn't taken out of the room. Like, it was as if it was like a personal item, so even our room stewardess, like, we'd fold it up and she would leave it exactly where we put it, which is cool. And our room stewardess was pretty awesome too. The food, so what we noticed is that the buffet is definitely the way to go. They serve the same food in those restaurants. And the thing about the buffet area is that the service there was quick, and the food was hot whenever you wanted it. But what you always had to watch out for were the people. And, people are going to do what they're used to. Another thing that bothered us about this cruise was every time one of the wait staff had the opportunity to remind us about their rating, they took it. And it was like 10 out of 10 is what we did. And it was just like every day, and sometimes multiple times from the same person every day. And it got to the point where it's like, all right, dude, like, come on, man. You're being a nuisance at this point. Let me caveat by saying this. That was not the only breakfast option. That's the option we chose to go. So if we really wanted to get away from all of that, all we had to do was choose a different location, because this particular group of individuals only worked in the Cosmopolitan and the buffet. But nevertheless, that was pretty cool. The food was great. Like, really didn't have any issues. And like, the displays were on point. Like, when you get on board and you just see like the craftsmanship that they put into a block of cheese or a block of ice, or their fruit displays, or even the meats in which they choose to carve, by far some of the best I've seen. The overall food selection was great too. And like, each city or port that we would go, you would have flavors from that area in the buffet for lunch and then dinner too, which was great because it wasn't the same every time. Now the pizza, didn't necessarily go for the pizza too hard. I think I had pizza in total, I had like 2 slices of pizza, and that's because I waited a little bit too long to go eat. That was essentially the only thing that was open. Not a real big pizza fan on the vessel. They do have a burger place, I think it's called the Masked Grill, and like their featured burger is like a bacon cheddar smash burger of some sort. The entertainment, like I said, was cool. Like, for the cousins, my cruising cousins, I love you guys. Shout out Uncle Stanley and Auntie Lynette. If you don't know who they are, check them out. Great group of people, great travel agents. So definitely 10 out of 10 recommend those guys. They got a group cruise coming up going that way, I want to say in a few weeks. Y'all are going to like the Magic Show by Matt Johnson. The singer Charity Lockhart is on board. Y'all will definitely enjoy her. And the performance, Feel the Funk. Those three things, I think y'all would definitely get a kick out of. And I just know if there was more of us on board, we would rock that. I don't think the DJs are going to entertain you, which is cool, right? Because we are our own vibe. But they did have things like line dancing. They did have, when I say line dancing, they put on like classes. But like these classes, I think, for one, the location matters. So a lot of these classes that they were putting on for people to attend were outside on the deck 15, which is like the sunset rooftop bar area. And you know, many mornings we'd wake up and it was like 30, 40, sometimes 50 degrees, which coming from the lower 48 is that's freezing, right? So not a lot of people went. Now, one thing that I would also mention is that 18, 19 hours of pure sunlight, right? It doesn't get dark, so you really don't know what time it is. So when we went up to go view the glacier, it was clear as day, no rain, 3 a.m., bright as day. And the thing is, when you're going to Alaska, you lose an hour, you go back in time. As far as excursions go, highly suggest that you do not book an excursion through Celebrity. And the reason why I say this is because the cities in which you guys are going to, like Ketchikan, Skagway, Juneau, Victoria, they're very small. Like you really don't need to be driven anywhere. You could go and walk to everything. So we did dog sledding in Skagway, and I think it was like $500 a person, and our expectations versus reality were deeply missed, right? And don't get me wrong, we got up to see the dogs, play with the dogs, touch the dogs, ride in a little sled or whatever, but you know, it wasn't what you would think, especially when you're coming with the expectation of you're gonna go meet the dogs. You know, like, first off, you got to keep in mind that the dogs are shedding their winter coats, right? So they're not as big as they look on like TV or whatever, and the dogs are training, right? So like they're getting prepared to go on these Iditarods in the upcoming months. So a lot of them are, you know, learning how to do it. A lot of them are young or being, you know, retired out, traded out. So, you know, with that aspect, it was like, okay, cool for what it was. But it would have been one of those things where we could have just went ourselves, you know, got an Uber up to that site, and then from there kicked it off. Now, one thing that I need you guys to also understand is that everything's going to be more expensive. Like, and I would say think California prices, but think California prices plus some. Okay, Joy bought a Snickers bar, you know, a regular king size Snickers bar for like $7-8, just to give you guys a price point, right? And then keep in mind, when you're in Canada, the currency is different, right? The US dollar is more than the Canadian dollar, so just keep that in mind when you're going about your way in Victoria. And when you're in Victoria, walk down to the Fisherman's Wharf. They got like a little floating neighborhood out there. It's really cool. And then once you're there, take a water taxi to Chinatown and then walk all the way back. And when I say all the way back, I think the entire city's maybe 2 miles. Once you get to Chinatown, you'll be able to experience like the city for real. Plus there's other there's shuttles, like buses or whatever, that will take you straight there and back, but I think that's like $10 to $15 a person each way. Ketchikan was real cool. They got this thing called the Great Alaskan Show, and Creek Street Salmon typically run the last week of June through the first week of July, and through Creek Street you can actually see them swimming up, which is pretty awesome. Like, we went there too early, so they weren't really there, but essentially the town is built along the creek there, and they got shops and everything. But yeah, I think you guys would get out and enjoy it. When you go out and see the glacier, that pit stop right before Juneau, just keep in mind you're probably going to get there at like 3 a.m. But it's really beautiful. Really, really enjoyed it. The hot chocolate, you know, I don't know about y'all, but I like to have mine actually taste like chocolate. So, you know, we would dump dang near half the jar into our little paper cup and then make it work with some hot water. All right, guys, for hotels, I would highly recommend that you guys stay at, we were at the Holiday Inn and Suites SeaTac for both leaving and for coming and going. And the reason why I say y'all should stay there is because, one, they have a complimentary shuttle that leaves from the airport and to the airport. And they have a shuttle that leaves from the hotel to the cruise ship. Now, the thing about the shuttle is that the one that leaves from the port, the hotel to the port, it's going to run you about $20 a person. And essentially, you can sign up as soon as you get there and check in. You got to bring the fun to it, though. You cannot expect the cruise ship to entertain you, at least on Celebrity Edge. Like, this was also the first time we have ever won bingo. The parties that they put on, oh man, they were dead. And it was hard to get anything going. And this is why I love going with groups, especially big groups, right? Because you don't necessarily need anything other than y'all. And that's one thing I love about the cousins, man, because, like, bruh, we all on the same sheet of music. We all on the same time. We rolling. We're not there for a long time. We're there for a good time. The people on these cruises, that at least on this cruise and the one in the past, you know what I'm saying, they want to watch the party instead of being part of it. And in Seattle, of course, if you got the opportunity to fly in a day or two early and walk around Seattle, there's a lot to do over there. You got Pike's Place not too far from there. You know, you take the train, probably like, I think it's maybe 12 or 13 stops, and then you can hop on a monorail. And I think the train, for real, you don't necessarily have to buy a ticket to the train station, for real, because nobody's checking it, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, there's a kiosk or whatever, and I think it's like $12 per person. You can ride all day. And then there's like a military rate too. But yeah, they got some good restaurants and shops in there. We went to Mod Pizza, and I think I am going to go there forever now. As far as, like, if there's one, that's going to be my pizza location. Let me tell you, that pizza was on point. Kayla, I believe her name was, she did an outstanding job making that pizza. Kayla, if you're there, thumbs up, man. Definitely great job. But yeah, Seattle had a lot to offer. Like I said, you got Pike's Place, which is real historic. You know, you got the gum wall that's not too far from there. Yeah, of course, you know, the boardwalk and, you know, aquariums and the Ferris wheel and all that stuff. Like, coastal towns are pretty neat. But yeah, our time on the Celebrity Edge was awesome. Like, now, is it one of those things where I would recommend, like, if we're trying to go get, like, our party on? Nah, definitely not it. You know, like, that cruise ship is more for reset, recharge, and then get ready to re-engage. Will we do it again? I think the only way we would do that boat again is if we were going with the cousins. We make the best out of any situation we are in, but even that has its limits, you know. But one thing I did see though is, like, you could bring your own speakers, right? There was a lot of people, especially out there on the pool deck. They were out there jamming, and that was dope. That was where the party was. So, you know, if you could get your own speaker, put it out there and have it, you know what I'm saying? You can get that boat rocking that way for sure.